TPCSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app.
Jared, hey, we're gonna need you to tone it down with the Summer Friday thing, okay?
What are you talking about?
Well, for one, it's not summer anymore.
Oh, really?
Coconut. Also, who is this?
I'm the caddy.
Oh, he's my intern.
Sorry, intern. I'm his intern.
Yeah, he's doing a great job.
No golfing in the office, okay? Summer Fridays are over. You can keep the Hawaiian shirt, but the rest of this stuff, all right? Are you grilling?
Oh, yeah. Did you want a burger or a hot dog?
No, grilling in the office.
That's a good point. We should take this outside.
No, that don't. You put that right back down.
Yo, it's all in the hips.
Oh, dude, come on, we gotta go. Let's go.
Good morning, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and it is that time. It's Monday, 10:35 Eastern, 7:35 on the West Coast. Cornflakes and crack with the legend himself, Mr. Bill Krackomberger. Go follow him at Twitter, X. You know where to find Mr. Bill Krackomberger, at Crackwins, at Bill Krackomberger. What a weekend. What a weekend. I headlined it, Survive and Advancing. That is the ticket. And I know there was 15 people sweating bullets on a 2-point conversion. We'll get into that. But first and foremost, a shout out to our proud sponsors and partnerships. Of course, it's WagerWire. Head on over to Google Play. Download that app. It is free. Zach, Travis, myself, Amber, Holly, Jay Berry, Matt. The list is endless. Come join us, please. 2025 will be epic. Viva Tequila Seltzer, CT Bets Austin, that team, second to none. New flavor lemon, and the East Coast is cuckoo for coconut. Go try one. Last but not least, Atlanta Steaks and Seafood. Jump on over to Facebook. Follow Terry Smith. While you're there, head on over to atlantasteaksandseafood.com. Steaks, chops, seafood, lobster tails, appetizers. He's got everything. Place an order today. Use the promo code STEAKS10. Get 10% off the whole order. Place the order today. You'll be grilling by Thursday. Without further ado, the star of this show, the one and only, Mr. Bill Krackomberger. Morning, sir.
Hey, good morning. How we doing?
We're doing. Cold back east, Billy, but I'm holding the fort up. How was your weekend?
It was okay. It would have been better if I'm in that survivor pool, so it would have been better if the Commanders would have lost that game there. But I didn't think New Orleans was even in it. Got lucky to be in it, and I agreed with the 2-point conversion, but didn't get it. Didn't knock out. There was 5 people that had the Commanders, so that would have knocked down a pretty big portion of the pool, 50 guys. It would have knocked out 10%, and then the rest got through with the Bengals, who they were in trouble early, down 14-7, and people that had the Bengals were definitely sweating. The Bengals have ruined a lot of people this year, including me earlier in Survivor before I bought back in. 10 people had the Cardinals, pretty easy victory. They got through. 12 had the Ravens, including my team. We had the Ravens. We got through pretty easy there versus the Giants. 15 have the Vikings tonight. So that's the biggest portion of the pool choosing the Vikings tonight. That was going to be our choice. When we went with Baltimore instead, and frankly, I'm happy now that we got through. But kind of frustrating. This was a survivor pool that eliminated half the field in the first 3 weeks. So it now getting down, like I've said in this space before, it looks like to me this is going to be a clear path for a lot of people splitting the end game, the end pool here. Now, doesn't mean that we have Green Bay available next week, and seriously considering Green Bay or maybe Atlanta. They're a 10-point favorite. Green Bay 13-point favorite. So one of those two, both of those teams, whoever picks those two, should go through. But you never know. It's the NFL, and anything can and will happen. But it looks like to me that a lot of people are going to be splitting this prize in the end. One person was eliminated this week had the 49ers on Thursday night. So we're down to 50 people. The implied value $285,000 per entry, and we'll see what happens here. I kind of don't even wish I bought back in. To be real honest with you, the entries, I thought we had a clearer path than many teams, and many of these teams, they got really lucky. I mean, look, 29 people had Kansas City when they played the Raiders, and the Raiders fudged that field goal at the end. 29 people had them, so that would have knocked out 60% of the pool in one shot. Then this obviously my investment would be worth a lot more. But it is what it is. We'll go with it and see what happens. It's always a fun Sundays in the NFL are always fun. I know one thing myself. I really enjoy the NFL now. Years ago, until I hosted the Fox show with the NFL, I really wasn't into the NFL individual games and stuff, and like I am now. But I say that, yet after I do my Fox Nationwide show Sunday morning, 7 to 10, every 10 a.m. when the games are starting, I go out to breakfast. So I bring my computer, put it next to me, watch the scores, watch my live odds screen, watch some of the ESPN live, what's going on in the games live. And then I come home. I usually come home and enjoy the late games. The Bills game was a real fun game yesterday, 48-42, Bills in Detroit. And, it just goes to show you that any given week, anything can happen. Look at the Bills. People think now they're the number one team. We've talked about that on this show throughout the season. The flavor of the week, now it's the Bills again. Even though the Bills lost last week to the Rams, now they're the best team in football, according to the odds. So none of these teams, I looked this morning, you can't imagine if you took 260 on the Lions to win the Super Bowl last week as a future. Come on. The parlaying it when they get to the playoffs will be the better bet anyway at 260. That's just ridiculous. I like to lay 260. I like to be on the other end of that. But now they're back to 4.5 to 1. As a matter of fact, let me give you the updated odds. So they're 4.5 to 1. But not only are they 4.5 to 1, the Eagles are 4.5 to 1, and the Lions are 4.5 to 1. So you have three teams, all plus 450. I guess you'd have to give me Buffalo out of those three. I'll go with the current flavor. Chiefs are 6 to 1. Huh? How can you take 6 to 1 on the Chiefs after you don't know the status of Mahomes? Baltimore 8.5 to 1. Vikings Packers 14 to 1. Listen, there's no one I want in that futures market. I said it here before. You're better off with the mechanical money line parlay for ROI. And this year, the parity amongst the top teams, the top 6 teams, I mean, anyone can win. Green Bay looked great to me last night, but then again, Seattle got a little banged up at the end there. But even in the first half, they were dominating. They were dominating Seattle after Seattle put off. I think Seattle won 4 in a row. They were really playing really well, and they're going to be in a division. At the end, it's going to be them. It looks like them or the Rams for the division. I'm hoping the Rams actually win the division. But like I said, any given week, anything can happen. You never know. Look for one of those outsiders. Let me just look what a crazy Rams team is. That's got to be like 50-1 or something. Rams, yeah, pretty good, 45-1. Which that means you could search and get more than 45-1. But maybe someone on the outside like that for a peanut bet, joking around, having some fun. But these top 5 teams, I cannot take anything, 8-1 or less, 5-1, 4-1. Come on, no way. You guys see what happens every week in the NFL.
I'm going to play devil's advocate for you. First and foremost, with the Lions loss, you think now you get a bump with the Vikings. Caleb Williams and the Bears playing with house money. Obviously, you're going to be a Bears fan. But I'm going to go back to the Survivor for a second because there is that cherry on top, and that's Christmas, and that's that Friday. So anyone that saved the Chiefs, I saw an opening number of Texans -2.5 at KC, which leads us obviously to believe that Mahomes will be out there. But I'm going to ask you a question, and you can tip your hand. You don't have to tip your hand. You have to play one of these teams. Chiefs at Steelers on Christmas Day, Ravens at Texans on Christmas Day, or Seahawks at Bears on Christmas Day. My assumption is everyone that's left either has the Seahawks or Bears, and that's where most people are going to end up having to play. Am I crazy to assume that, right?
That's where our team is, and just think about that line right now, with the status of the quarterback now. Just think of that line, which would probably be Seattle -3, but after last night's game, I would think it's more like Seattle -1.5. 1.5, 2. So now, the reason I say that, the Bears probably aren't as bad as people think. They've been in some of these games lately. They've been really, even though they've lost, they've been in some hard-fought division battles and some hard-fought battles. And I expect to see them in the game tonight. Some money's coming on the Bears. Since I woke up this morning at 5, I've seen some. Now it's Bears +7 -$1.15, +7 -$1.20. So the division is a division game. It's an old school division game, and the Bears having some extra rest here too. So we'll see what happens tonight. I think it'll be a closer game than people think, and that Christmas is going to separate a lot of people. You're right, in our pool. When you have 3 games, now you have Kansas City Steelers, right? Kansas City Steelers. Now you have the Steelers lost yesterday. Kansas City lost their quarterback, Mahomes. Don't know if he'll be back by then. We don't know the status. So we really don't know what the story is here. And these games are all going to be like 3-point or less games. That's going to separate a lot of the guys at the end. And hopefully we don't get separated, because that's all we have left. We have Seattle or the Bears left. Those other teams we don't. That's what makes this contest so tough.
And the funny, you're talking about quarterback situations, and technically in the loss column, the Chiefs have a 2-game lead on the Bills, but the Bills already beat the Chiefs. So again, the Bills own that tiebreaker. Let's just play devil's advocate here. No Mahomes this week. Houston goes in and beats the Chiefs. Now they got a 1-game lead technically, and then that now becomes no Mahomes, say, at the Steelers on Christmas Day. That probably brings the Steelers back into play as well. Correct, Billy?
Yeah, no, it does. It does bring the Steelers back into play, but I wonder what the availability on that. I could check, but it might take us offline here. So, but yeah, the Steelers. Listen, I'll be the first one to say Steelers are a lot better than I thought. Even though they couldn't cover yesterday versus the Eagles, the Steelers were definitely a better team than I thought this year. And while I don't think they have a great coach and they got a great staff all around, but I just thought they'd have a real tough schedule the second half of the year, and especially going into these last 3-4 games, 5 games really. I even bet Baltimore to win the division, where I'm a dog now on that. Baltimore 9-5, but the Steelers are have already passed their season win mark, and they're proving me wrong. So tough, gritty team, old school team. However, I don't think they have what it takes to get there in the end. But that particular Christmas day, that Christmas that there's, I think is it 2 days? I think it's 2 games on one day and one game on another. I think that's what it is. It's 3 games you pick from. You have to save one of those 6 teams or you're out. But that day is
Christmas
going to separate. Is it? Go ahead, you can tell me. Christmas Eve? What is it?
the Christmas Day, you have the Chiefs at the Steelers at 1
Right.
p.m. Eastern. At 4:30 Eastern, Ravens at Texans, and then the day after Christmas,
Day after
Thursday the
Christmas.
27th,
I knew it was over
8:15
2
p.m.
days.
Seahawks at Bears.
Wow, that's going to be a standalone island game, and lots of people are going to be doing sweating here for $14+ million. It's amazing to have this kind of a contest, though. This has really taken over the gambling space as far as contests go nationwide. $14.2 million should be a fun sweat.
I have to bring this up, Billy. It is the holiday season. You know what happens. You live in Vegas. You eat, drink, sleep. What goes on in these casinos? When I was a lot younger, when I was running, into Boston to Federal Hill, tiptoeing to New York City. It was crazy times. Yeah, you know exactly what I was doing, of course.
I do.
But my question to you is, please, we have standing room only already here in Twitter. When you're caught up in the madness, when you're caught up in the quicksand, when your kids got a list a mile long, your wife or your girlfriend's got a list a mile long, and your paycheck doesn't equal the list, the tendency is, hey, I used to do the same thing. I'm going to go hit the matinee at Raynham Dog Track. I'm going to go hit the matinee at Suffolk or at Wonderland. I'm going to now be able to get that Xbox. Or I got the right side on this Chicago game tonight in Minnesota, and we play over our skis. And next thing you know, our paycheck's gone. We didn't hit the Christmas list. Never mind, the lights are going off on Thursday. Can you tell everyone, please? Bankroll management is so key every day in this marathon, but during the holidays, don't get sucked in.
You know, the casinos have credit departments and credit lines. If you only knew how many people go to the casinos, give a little Fugazi play just to get a free Christmas loan, hitting their credit line and cashing out, going to the, and people say, well, how can you do that? You're taking chips, you're taking this, you're taking that. Listen, most knockaround guys, they know how it works. Under $3,000, you go to the cashier, you cash out $2,600. They don't ask you anything. Over $3,000 or more, they say, "Do you have a marker?" Also, those little slot vouchers. The slot vouchers, you can take a marker with slot vouchers, play a little bit, go to the machines. Some of these machines cash out up to $3,000 right at the machine. There you go, Christmas interest-free loan. Do I recommend doing it? Absolutely not. It's a recipe for destruction. It's gambling ruin. RUIN. And you're right. Around the holiday time, it gets really tough sometimes. But let me just tell you, this gambling thing of ours, it's so easy to do. It's so easy to, it's in your face now. Like when we were kids, Jeff, there was only certain gambling establishments. You only had gambling in Atlantic City. When I grew up, in the 80s, you had, now granted, I've been to Atlantic City since I'm 16. We had gambling in Atlantic City, and we had gambling at our racetracks in New Jersey. You had the lottery. You had a lot of gambling vices. The lottery, like I said, the racetracks. You even had, there was a game called the High Lie, or just 2 hours from where I lived. You can go right over the border to Connecticut there, and you can gamble on High Lie. And so there was a lot of pressure on us as kids, and especially the towns I grew up in. We were pitching quarters against the wall, flipping quarters in high school and wood shop, and I grew up in a gambling boardwalk town where we gambled on literally anything in the arcade, head-to-head blackjack in people's garages, and poker games, and after-hour joints, and then you'd have the city was full of poker games, and even craps, blackjack, underground stuff was always going on. It was really, really tough. I'll tell you, man, I don't know how I got out. I really, I say I don't know. Of course I do know. I had a cousin, my cousin Anthony, real smart guy, always teaching me some of the skill sets needed. And also the guy I met down in Atlantic City that was working for the card count team at resorts, he was moonlighting himself, running around, um, putting those methods into play, that he was protecting the casino in the daytime, wearing a cape by night, and going out and going out and using those skills. And I still to this day give him credit. He's the guy that really changed my life around. Even though I knew those skill sets, didn't matter. We all know, we all hear about bankroll management, we all hear about money management skills, but to put them into effect and apply them, especially when it's, let's just face it, it's closet gambling too. You can go to the racetracks and no one knows that what you're doing. Or now, think about it now. What about it now? What these kids are up against? It's all in the palm of their hand. So, yeah, it's tough. I never even knew till today, Jeff. I never knew you did this. I never knew you had these tendencies as a kid or as a youth, or, and I say kid, 18, 19, 20 years old. I never knew you were doing those things. You were going to racetracks now, did they have any kind of casinos you were going to? Was I don't know your age. Was Foxwoods a Mohegan Sun there or no?
During the start of the North End Federal Hill and New York City run, robbing Peter to pay Paul to pay Mary, you know what I'm talking about, of course.
Yep.
Some people here do, of course, as well.
Yeah.
No, Mohegan and Foxwood had not yet been open. I worked for my first two services in Boston in the late 80s, early 90s. And you know this story. You walk in at 105, there's a game on the board, and I'll use today's game as an example. Bears at Minnesota, 6.5. And you would then get a list of 100 names, and I would call you up, and I have 3 minutes. Now, this is before the internet. This is before the cell phones. This is before anything. And so, this is at 12:30 on a Sunday, everyone at a payphone, and people would look at, what are these guys doing? Where, of course, we know they were calling their local shots. But my point is, I have a 3-minute window. I introduce myself, got your number from a highly ranked place out in Vegas. How you hitting them, and you're like, who is this guy? And then at the end of the conversation, I got 3 minutes here. I'm trying to find out, hey, how you been hitting the games? And as a gambler, if you want to put your chest out, I just had a great week, and I was 7-1 this weekend. I can't miss. Oh, really? How much you playing the game? Now, they tell you a lie, I'm just a $25 player, or they tell you a bigger lie, I'm a $500,000 player, which we know is a lie, of course. Well, at the end of the conversation, I give you my 800 number because I get the game of the week. And when it wins, call me tomorrow morning, I'll give you another winner, and I give you the Bears plus 6.5, and I hang up. I pick up the phone immediately. I called your next door neighbor. I go through the whole spiel, and I give him the 800 number, and I says, when this game wins, because it's going to win, call me tomorrow. And I give him the Vikings.
Oh,
and so
God.
at the end of the day, you got 50 on Minnesota, and you got 50 on the Bears. And so there's going to be 50 winners and 50 losers. So you come in Tuesday morning after whoever, let's just say the Vikings win by 20. You got the 50 guys on hold that had the Bears that were $25 bettors that bet 250 or 500. You give them 3 games, hope to go 3-0 or 2-1. Otherwise, you rip up their name and you give it to your guy next to you. And the guys that won didn't play the game, of course, Billy, because they don't know you from Adam. And why do I need your service?
Yeah, you worked in one of those boiler rooms. My God, I don't know how. I couldn't do that. I couldn't do. Listen, I have a service, but I charge a flat fee for. We have a couple different programs, and I give out real stuff from the sharpest gambling syndicate in the world. I think one of the sharpest is us. My group. So we give out props. We give out things that are beatable. I don't like to give out a lot of NFL. I give out NFL sides this weekend, and I gave out the Giants plus 7. When I went to 17, I give out the Giants. I'm very transparent and tell you right now. I mean, just lost by 1 score, but big deal. It's a loss. A loss is a loss. So I stick with wins. I know what I have done. I have never had a losing quarter, which means I've never had a losing year. I'm giving out real sharp stuff. When I give out college basketball, you can guarantee I move the entire world. There's only 2 or 3 services that there's 4. There's 4 services I know that move the entire world. I'm one of them. I wish I didn't move. I wish they didn't move. I wish the games actually did move. It's my clients bet into some of the bigger, sharper sports books, and immediately they're gonna move off that because they know their previous history of the game moving, the game winning. And listen, I'll be the first to tell you, I'm going to lose 42, 43 games a year out of 100. So, but with that, you're going to make yourself a nice profit. So I've never really gotten to calling clients or talking. I know I can make an extra 6 figures a year. I know I can. Talking to people want to talk to me. I've had opportunities. People email me and say, oh, can you give me the game first? Can you do this? We could do that. I could bet this much. I can give you that. It's not what I do. It's not the operation I do. It's such a dirty operation to begin with. The reputations of so many different services and companies, and back then the sports books used to actually sponsor the pick sellers, because the sports book, they would want you to put the customers into their book, and they would give the sports book guys that were selling the games a piece of their losses. 50%. It's called half sheets. And so now you're making money selling picks. You're making money on the back end, getting money back from the sports books. You're basically being an agent for a sports book. By the way, it's illegal, just to let you know. But these people have made millions and millions of dollars. Even if they got caught, they get a slap on the wrist and no jail time and pay a small fine. Meanwhile, they made $5 million. And this is legitimate numbers, by the way. From the 80s and 90s, back when I didn't even know you were doing these things. But I know, like Mike Warren, Jimmy Allen, all these different services, and the New York Post and Daily News used to open up the sports section, the latest line, and they were actually promoting gambling, and they're the ones that should have been arrested too. They're promoting gambling and filtering these information of the lines to people with the advertisements to bet. Well, where are you betting in New York? You're betting with a bookmaker. You're betting with an illegal bookmaker. I'm not saying you're doing anything illegal by betting. The illegal people are the guys that are taking the bets. But they just brought back some memories that I totally forgot about for years, to be honest with you.
And then the funny of all funnies, again, late 80s, early 90s. And the sad thing is there's a lot of people out there now that are still doing it. We know it's a numbers game. And the sad thing is it gives the real guys like ourselves, a bad look, a black eye, touts. I hate that word. Scams, scam decappers, and I was intrigued by numbers. I always say, an under over Celtics and Sixers is 230. And, after 48 minutes of play, 13 missed free throws, 16 made 3-pointers. The final score is 120-110. How did Vegas do it? Well, that's what intrigued me. As soon as I knew what was going on back in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s, and this is what people were doing, I was as gone as you could be, but I was intrigued on the numbers, and that's where I am and why I am where I am today in today's business here, and partnered up with people like yourselves, have the right people in our corners to thrive and survive, as we like to say here, Billy. It's so ugly out there. It's so cutthroat. People will steal your wallet and then help you look for it 2 hours later.
Absolutely. It's funny because, we talk about what we're going to talk about on the show, and maybe the question of the day, or, where you want to go to eat and food sources and things. So today, and I don't even know if you asked me this. This is my ADD. I have terrible ADD. My brain's just racing at all times. I don't. I've never dabbled in any like sleeping medicine or marijuana or anything like that, or edibles. Never really messed with them. I tried them once in a while, but I really should. I say once in a while. I've tried it like maybe 2 times the whole year. I don't like the way you can't get up in the morning. So my brain is just always racing. It just doesn't shut down a lot. So I don't even really realize if you even asked me my question today. Did you, by the way, Jeff, or no? Did you ask the question? I don't even know.
I have not. I was getting
Okay.
to it right now, but if
I thought you
you
asked me in a subliminal way and I didn't answer it right. That's why.
the stage is yours.
Oh, okay. Some things not to do when you're planning on gambling or going to Vegas or going everywhere. I wrote down some things that I know I don't do, but I know others people easily can do it, like drinking. I don't drink. I've never drank though. I never started. I never had a problem with it. I never started. High school and stuff. I was always interested in making money. I was always hustling, working many jobs more than anyone that you're ever going to interview. No one's worked more jobs than me, more blue collar jobs. But drinking while gambling, you see it in every casino, cocktail service everywhere. Even the sharp gamblers that I know and the sharp people I know, that's right, some of them turn into suckers when they're under the influence of something. I mean, people that have made their money gambling, we just lose our skill sets. And I think to myself, what shot does the public have being a civilian, not even knowing the rules of the games and the odds of the game? What shot do they have if the sharp guys are, losing and gambling out of control? Like if I go into a casino, I don't even play any table games. If I do, I'm getting a deal. I'm getting a walk-in deal. I'm getting an offer. I'm getting something. But even going to buy a blackjack table with my buddies, my brain doesn't work right to have a fun time. All I'm thinking is that, all right, there's the first hand, there's 3 5s out and no aces. That's a good sign. Like, counting cards, just easy. By the way, counting cards is so overblown. One, you can learn 90% of what I know in 4 hours on the internet. Two, you have to apply those skill sets and you have to have no leaks to your game, even if the count's positive, because the dealer can get those tens and aces too. Just that they have rules in place. They have to hit 16 where you could stay on 16. You get paid 3 to 2 on blackjack. They don't. You can double. They can't. There's a lot of, that's the reason that the blackjack card counters have the edges. So, listen, I may deal blackjack in my garage to people that want to play at blackjack card counters. That's how little of an edge I think they have, especially if under the influence of anything. When you come to these places on vacation, have a plan. Have a plan and have fun when you're here. I talked about this before too, about using the pools, going to shows, and be there for your wife and your family. Don't come here with the intent on winning. When you had enough for the night, call it a night. Don't take cash advances. I can't believe how many people I see at the cash advance machine. So the cash advance machine is the same thing as the kiosk where you take your slot voucher and cash it in. So I'm waiting online to cash my voucher in, and I see people using and agreeing to the $9.99 fee. And I'm just like, wow. People I've seen, and they leave their receipt sometimes in the machine. I put them on Twitter. People take $40 out and pay $8, or people take $100 out and pay $10. 10%? You're looking to give the casino 10% before you even put the money in the machine. But that happens, especially if you're, under the influence. Just listen, carry cash. It ain't heavy. Carry cash. Bring what you can afford to lose. I know. Believe it or not, though, I do realize that most personality types, it's an impossibility. It is, and I'm talking about even me when I was a kid. I had a control. You, Jeff, I had a control when you were a kid. Every moment of my life at 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Every moment was consumed with gambling. Imagine that, gambling thoughts. When I finally was able to sleep is when I went broke. Took the pressure off. Money was the pressure, having the money. My old man used to say, it burns a hole in your pocket. And, looking back at the way I grew up, Jesus, I was out of control. And I mean, I was going to Monmouth Racetrack, Meadowlands, dragging my wife, who we were dating at the time, to like gambling establishments, Atlantic City, and you're driving down in your car, and then you got Sinatra on and everything's great. The windows are open, nice summer wind coming in, and then driving home, not having enough money to pay the tolls and faking the tolls. Used to take and fake it and honking the horn. Oh yeah, the thing fell on the ground. It was running out of gas. I ran out of gas one time. Sick. We're total wackadoos. So I know what it is. It's no different than what these kids are going through today. The only difference is they're a little bit older now. And I'm talking about the under 30, under 35 crowd now. They're going through a lot of things now because gambling is now fashionable. It's so accessible now. And yes, I make my living gambling, and I make my living sports betting, and I make my living talking about this. And but I'll tell you what, I like to talk about the responsible gambling aspect too. These gambling hotlines are out of control. It's unbelievable. It really is. Like I said before in this space and many others, every college in America has a gambling problem now. These kids think, oh, I watch this stuff on ESPN. I can bet this stuff. And, we haven't reached the head yet. We haven't reached that where people are saying, oh, my God. There's a couple articles just last week. 2 different articles came out last week about gambling in America and the youth of America. I mean youth, under 35, not under 18. By the way, they're gambling too, because the fathers and mothers think, it's harmless. Let them have some fun. FanDuel, DraftKings, all these big things are all over the place. It's, fantasy and it's fun. And listen, and I grew up in a household where my dad allowed it. My dad was gambling. So let your kid go to the track, give him $5 for some exactas or a trifecta, or have fun, bet your favorite number, your favorite name, favorite color of the horse. And, that may seem like a harmless little thing, but that turned into me taking a bus from Kingsburg to Long Branch, from Long Branch to Oceanport at, 16 years old with my buddies, sneaking to the racetrack and thinking that I knew what I was doing, and didn't realize that they were taking 25%. That's right, 25% out of the pool. So every $100 you put through the window, they're only returning 75. So listen, I didn't realize all this stuff, and I only say it because I want the kids to know that, and under 35 again, this is the closet gambling that's going on, and it's even going on amongst housewives and everything. When the kids go to sleep and stuff, there's a lot of problem gamblers. You know what? These sites have these online casinos. That is really the major problem for a lot of these places, and for a lot of these people. They say, oh, let's just put 20 in. Let me just play a little slots. Let's have some fun. 20 becomes 40, 40 becomes 100, 100 becomes the house payment. It's a vicious cycle, vicious. So I know I go off the hook about these things too. Let me give you some other advice. Something happened in Vegas last week here. One of the hotels, one of the rooms got robbed, and they stole 2 Louis Vuitton bags. First of all, you got to have some street smarts. Where are these people from? The middle of America? You don't realize you can't leave Louis Vuitton bags in the room. You can't leave money in the room laying around. You can't leave stuff. When I go to check in, I don't even use the maid service. I tell them, listen, do not disturb on the door the whole time. If I need more towels or I need more any accessories, I go out to the maid cart, give the maid a couple bucks, grab some towels, put them in the room. I don't even want the maids coming in the room for the week when I'm there or whatever. So that's probably a smart thing, because in this situation, the maids actually probably were involved in setting up and robbing the room. And you know what? You can go on YouTube and just put in hotel room safes. You think that's safe, putting your stuff in there? There's not 1, there's not 2, there's not 10. There's 100+ videos of that's right, casino hotel room safes, how people get in them and crack the safes in a matter of seconds. It's unbelievable when you put that search in. Anyway, I went off on enough tangents here, and I don't mean to be the what's the word? I used to write a column, the aggravated gambler. I don't mean to be the aggravated gambler. I say this stuff trying to help, trying to give you guys some of the stuff off my playbook, Jeff's playbook. We were losing gamblers, losing bettors. This is not for everyone, and believe it or not, it's not even for a large portion of the population. But yet, a large portion of the population is gambling because it's so fashionable. It's on every commercial. Your favorite celebrity, your favorite athlete, they're all endorsing it, saying how fun it is. And it is fun and it is okay to do, but you have to have that stop loss. You have to know when enough is enough. That's all. I've said too much.
Billy, the scroll has been going the whole time. Thank you for the OT today. We know you got a busy week ahead of you on X at Bill Crackman, at Fox Sports Radio, at Crackwins, at Veasan. But as we always close this segment, Billy, tell them what your week looks like and where they can find you and your app, of course.
My podcast. I'll go by the podcast first. It's on YouTube under Crackwins with a K. It's under Spotify. At my partner John Orlando, Action Junkie, Spotify. Randy McKay's on every week giving out NFL. He's having a great winning season again. Also, you could find me on Veasan on Thursday morning that's Gil Alexander, and of course Countdown to Kickoff on Fox on the weekend, 7 to 10 a.m. Vegas time, Fox Sports Radio, and also the Crackwins and Crackwins app. Thanks a lot for your time.
Billy, thank you so much. Enjoy tonight's game. Hopefully you get a little luck in the Survivor. We'll be watching you throughout the week, and we'll catch up with you next Monday.
Thank you, sir.
Take care. The one and only Mr. Bill Krackomberger. Go follow him at Crackwins, at Bill Krackomberg, Crackman, at Bill Crackman. An amazing guy. It's crazy. Go back to the 80s. No cell phone, no internet, no way to get the West Coast games. Our source way back in the day, my source, was 5 newspapers: the Boston Herald, the Boston Globe, the USA Today, the New York Post, the New York Times, on Fridays, the National. If you gave out or played a late night West Coast game, you hoped that the next morning that game was in the scoreboard so you could see. The only way we got our updated games was every 10 minutes on a 900 number. It was crazy back then. And to imagine, I always said this, your cell phone is a walking casino. And there's nothing that you can't place a wager on. So we're going to take a quick commercial break and we're going to wrap this thing up. Please, guys, stay tuned. We will be right back.
2,000 years long, we will never settle. Hard days, no way, with a heavy metal. No time, no fail, won't stop here. Like a torch to a flame when it burns hot. Won't stop. Come on, take me higher.
Yourself a merry little Christmas, and have yourself a merry little Christmas.
What a way to start the week. Billy Krackomberger. I am blessed and honored to have him here every Monday, 10:30 a.m. Eastern, 7:30 a.m. back in the left coast of Vegas where he is. The goal today is simple, as we're hoping to get some kind of closing bell. It will not be at 5 o'clock. If we do have one, it will be after 5. Keep a look at our timeline. ECSI VIPs, a weekend to remember. As we go 3-0 on Friday, 4-1 on Saturday, and technically 4-0 yesterday, 3-0 on our graded plays, and we have a pizza and beer play on over 1.5 in a hockey game that came in. So technically, a weekend to remember, 11-1. So can't thank CJ Nichols, the Live Zone, for all your help back here. This was standing room only just on Twitter. If you haven't subscribed, jump on over to YouTube at East Coast Sports Investors and subscribe. It's free. Come on back to Twitter at EC Sports Invest. Follow us and ECSI Media Group. Guys, it's a great way to start the week. We can't thank you enough. Shout out to Amber Hawley, of course. Shout out to Emil, Danny, for their continued support. Mr. Lucky, Dr. Lance, the list is endless, guys. I can't thank you guys enough. Have a blessed day, and we will see you soon.